Welcome back to And All the Things. This is Michaela and I am your host, where it is my job to introduce you to some truly remarkable human beings. These are people just like you and me who choose every day to use their gift to grow, change, and serve. In my world, that is how we brighten the light and darken the darkness so that we can all shine a little bit brighter. Today's guest is no different. Today we are talking about Angela DiMarco and all the things. Angela is the founder of Uniquely You. She is also the co-founder of Phenom Publishing. She is the author of Update 52, and she is a downright awesome individual. In our conversation today, you're going to hear about family and estrangement and struggles at the holidays. We're going to talk about what the pendulum is, how it swings, and how we keep it in the middle. We dive into the value and the power of asking questions. We talk about authenticity and showing up as your true self, and also knowing when to show up to meet the needs of the situation. So sit tight, enjoy, and get to know Angela DiMarco and all the things. Thanks so much. Enjoy the show.
Here with us from New York. She is the founder of Uniquely You. She is a mom, a wife, a creative. She is freaking hilarious, loves Pearl Jam, and I can't wait to find out so many more about Angela DiMarco and all the things. So welcome.
Yay!
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm so good. And yes, I love Pearl Jam and all the things.
Oh,
it's probably
any better. We swoon. So Angela and I have connected professionally and then at every encounter on a deeply personal level, whether it's the super woo-woo stuff, right? That we believe so strongly about professing to the world, or Pearl Jam, or our families, or our jobs, all the things. So as we have evolved, there's been this parallel journey that we are taking together. And my goal in this podcast is to find out what makes people so darn special, what their gift is, and how they use it to grow and change and serve others. So Angela, it is Christmas time, as you can see from behind me. How are you managing on the scale of like cool to crazy in the Christmas preparations?
Oh my goodness. Well, so it's interesting. This is my first Christmas without my family. So, and I mean, like, not like my husband and my kids, because it's all about them right now, but my family, my mother, my brothers, my aunt, we all had a huge falling out at the end of June. It's all good because it's just life, right?
Yes.
It's just life. And it's about claiming our space in life where we can be content and peaceful. So
it's boundaries, right? If there's something that's hurting you, even when it's our family, oh man, the work I do, even when people come to me professionally, we spend time in this area of dealing with the family, dealing with the boundaries, what's okay and what's not. And I imagine that must have been incredibly hard to say, here, I'm going to stand here and that's that, because I'm worth it. That's what I'm hearing you say, right?
Yeah. Well, it was also, for the love of my younger brother, like there was an issue in the family that nobody was addressing, and I was the only one that was addressing it. And so my boundary was to help him at the end of the day, and they all just wanted, because if they agreed with me, they would have to look at themselves. And
yes, and that's too much sometimes for people. So is that opening you up or constricting you this Christmas?
It's so there's obviously the sadness, right? Of 48 Christmases gone by, or 47, I guess is the 48. But my unit, my team, Dave, Maddie, Christian, my team has been so supportive, and we have gotten so close because of it that I'm really looking forward to just spending time with them. Like I told Dave on Christmas Day, I want a Christmas story Christmas, less the dogs coming in to eat the turkey, but I want to make a turkey. I want us to sit around a table, in our jammies and just chill, So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to kind of like creating traditions with these people who I absolutely adore and make me the best person I could be. So
Good for you. It's so interesting because one of the questions I want to hit on today is how do you choose your partners? And I think we'll get to that, but it's to talk about it in the way of the family. We are so quick to just say, well, that's family, that's just how it is, right? We just do the things, we show up. And especially at the holidays, there's so many expectations. I mean, raise your hand if the expectations can get out of hand, right? But uh, it takes a certain kind of courage, right? But to be able to say what's most important to me is XYZ, and I'm going to make the decisions that get me closer to that goal. And I'm going to make sure that my family unit is safe and okay as we make that journey. It releases the expectations. It takes away the daytime Christmas travel. It takes away the hustle and bustle. And my goodness, you get Christmas in your jammies.
I get Christmas in my jammies on my terms.
Oh
There's so
my
many
gosh.
times I never asked. You hit the nail on the head. There's so many times I never said, what do I want to do?
Mhm.
Not even the kids. What do I want to do?
Right.
I want to wake up. I told Dave, I was like, I will go to church. I will,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to church at 9:30 in the morning. So if you find me like a 12 o'clock mass, I'm there. Otherwise, Jesus
Yep.
knows I love him. He
Yep.
knows.
Yep. I did that on Sunday. I sent the family to church and I stayed home and wrapped presents. I said, this is very therapeutic. This is very peaceful. And you know what else that meant? It means I don't have to stay up at night while the kids aren't home to wrap their presents, which means I get to sleep, which means the ripple effect gets me closer to what's most important to me. And I'm with you. Like I am committed to not being a basket case this Christmas.
Good.
Like
How's it
that's my
going?
goal is like, don't, you know what? It's going pretty well, I have to admit. But as you and I have discussed, I've done a lot of the work, right? I've assessed and looked at what my value systems are. And I said, does that really bring me joy? Right? Like, am I going to go to this event and it yield a positive return? Or am I going to be exhausted, stressed out, probably hungry, all of that. And those are not all the things that we want in life.
Right.
Right? Like we want to be in the moment and experiencing the wholeness of it.
Yeah.
Because in my one tiny, unique little precious life, that's all I have.
I know.
Right?
I know.
And we
When we
just give it
appreciate the
away.
moments, I know when we so just sit in the moment and
Mhm.
just like, even if I'm having a bad day, you can look around and say, okay, but look at my beautiful yard. I've got heat. I've got, like you could just go back to the very, very, very basics.
Yep.
And then life is so gorgeous. So gorgeous when you can do that. Instead of thinking,
Yep.
oh, the debt, the bills, the blah, the blah, the
Yep.
blah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm with
And it
you.
doesn't mean that life isn't hard, even though it's beautiful.
Right.
It just means that it can be two things at once, right? So if it's true that there are stresses and hurdles, and it's also true that it's beautiful outside, right? Can't I live somewhere in the middle and address them both and give them both due diligence and due credit and not let either own me?
Yeah. Dana's always, I'll talk about Dana in a little bit, but Dana's always talking about the pendulum swing.
Yes.
And
Oh, see, I do too.
I
I
know you guys
love
are
you
like,
guys.
I know that's why we're also
I
so
love it.
but she always tells I would have moments, this has been a journey starting this business and we'll get
Mhm.
into it, but I've had moments where I've been like, oh my God, everything's amazing. And like, oh my God, everything sucks. And she's
Right.
like, just like hang out down here,
Right.
And I feel like I'm getting to a spot where I can swing easily back and forth now where it doesn't cripple me. Whereas before
Yeah.
it would.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and congratulations, because that's growth. That's effort. That's doing the hard work, because the energy it takes to get the pendulum all the way out, right? And if you keep pushing, it just means you have to go further. But you're still going to have those moments where you fly out to the side. It's just the muscles are skilled and practiced to come back down to a more comfortable place, right? So when I sometimes see extended family that might be a little stressful, right? It literally is a thought of, oh, wow, that's lovely and interesting. Oh, wow, that's stressful and interesting. Wow, right? And it's just this,
Yeah.
I, in my head, I sound like a crazy person, but what it does is it keeps my pendulum in the center. Because if this is true that they are stressful and intense, then it's also true that they are lovely and capable of beauty.
Yeah.
It's possible. So let's just stay in the middle somewhere. So what has been your big pendulum swing lately? What is it you're trying to keep centered?
Well, oof. Honestly, it is like this Christmas, like really
Mhm.
focusing on like trying to stay not crazy or whatever, but also
Mhm.
I'm in the middle of, I joined an accelerator program, which means that I am going to try to meet with investors and try to get money for our business and try to take our business to just the next level.
Mhm.
So right now it's a lot of like reclusive stuff, but me fighting the lack of worthiness, the I'm not good enough, I don't know what I'm doing, all those things that
Mhm.
I had like instilled, to really be like, no, I know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I
Mhm.
got this. So I never learned that. I'm gonna learn it, So I'm kind of like
This is how
battling.
people learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had to call Dana and be like, how do you study? Because I was the worst student ever. And she's like, okay, get notes, get highlighters, you take notes. And she taught
Oh,
me how to
I love
study.
that.
I don't know. I'm a 48-year woman who can't study.
But that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I was reading one of your blogs recently, and I remember it was I'm not afraid to ask questions,
Yeah.
right? And as an entrepreneur, and we'll circle back in just a second, but as an entrepreneur, how important is that?
Oh,
The openness. Talk about that for a moment.
so I'm working on a book. So I'm working on a book where I wrote probably every week for the first year of the business up until last year, up until launch. Um, I wrote every day. I was always open, always open, always open, always asking questions, always doing it. And there was a part of it that was like, as I look back on it, it's a little scary. It's a little needy.
Mhm.
It's a little clingy. Like, please like me. If I include you, you'll
Right.
like me. Let's all get a part
Sure.
of this.
Well, we're hardwired for connection, right? Like, let's go Brene Brown for a hot second. We are hardwired for that desire to be connected. And back to caveman times, right? If we were disconnected from the tribe, from the group, we were eaten by tigers, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that desire is very, very real. And in a world where we are given constant validation or otherwise
Right.
through social media and the news and all manner of influence, of course, we are very needy, especially when we make ourselves incredibly vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? Like, let me
Yeah.
try this big thing. So I
Yeah.
see that.
And I came from the not supportive world. You know what I mean? And looking back, it was very much like, oh, that's great. But everybody in my life, oh, that's fantastic. But, or did you think, oh, you can't do that? Why would you do that? And then all those
That's
voices
tough.
in my head. So I think there was a point where I was trying to prove that I could do it on my own, even though it was inclusive and asking for questions. And then there was a point where I was just like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help.
Right.
And the minute I like surrendered to that, then those questions became pointed. Then the right teacher showed up. Then and I was able to listen because it was with the right motivation.
When was that? What was that point? Do you like, can you, could you put a dot on the map?
Hmm. Yes. Okay. The idea for Uniquely You came in November of 2020.
Okay.
Dana had painted this painting back here. That's my little angel.
And for our listeners, we're talking about Dana Sardano,
Dana's
who we will get into, I'm sure, in just a little bit. But she is a lot of amazing things that you'll hear about as we talk. So go ahead.
Okay, so Dana painted this painting for me, and then we had an intuitive guidance session because I was kind of stuck in life.
Mhm.
And at the end of that session, I told her about my idea for Uniquely, and she was like, "You have to do it. It's gold." And that's part of our whole
Mhm.
story for the genesis of the business. But so from
Mhm.
November 2020 to, I would say, summer of 2021, growing the business, like doing the things. It's just an idea. I'm still have a
Mhm.
full-time job, six-figure job. And my husband and I are looking for a house in an expensive neighborhood, So there's no leaving the job, right? So there was just
Right.
like talking about
The
the business,
plan is set. Yeah.
right? And it was honestly just an idea. And then in September of 2021, so everything's born out of necessity, right? This whole idea of
Mhm.
Uniquely You came out of necessity because it was something I needed a long time ago. So September of 21, my town had some tragedies that befell upon us. My daughter's close friend died by suicide. It was Gabby Petito was murdered. She's from our town. So it was just like,
wow.
it was a compounding thing. It was like the school was trying to react to the whole COVID thing. And it was just,
I was going to say, and we're still in COVID at this time.
yeah.
I'm not that we're out. I don't know where we are, but really still feeling the grips of it.
Yeah. And I just saw so many people so lost. And at that point, uniquely, you had to come out. It had to. So it was so September, we bought it. We closed on our house on October 7th. I hadn't been paying attention to my daughter. So even as a mother, there was a shift in me, and Maddie was going through stuff. We have a history where she lived with her father when she was younger, like whatever. And she just was acting out, and I didn't know how to handle it. And Dana Sardano, she kind of guided both of us through. And we always joke, because Dana wrote 3 books, right? And we always say, like, Dana will be talking, she's like, it's in a book. And her help, her guidance, when I was going through this tragic time for my child, a strange time in our relationship, even how to discipline her, because I was never disciplined, so I didn't know. But her guidance helped us grow exponentially through that. And Dana is our chief officer of content and curriculum. So she guides all of our content. And I was like, oh my God, the world needs what we have to offer. And then all of a sudden it was just like tunnel vision, this has to happen. And that's the point where I dropped the airs. It was like, nope, this is serious, game on, folks. And then we were on the house, and I looked at my husband and I was like, I got to quit my job, right? He was like,
we haven't even made the first mortgage payment yet, honey. Hang on.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I did it responsibly. I did the 5 or 6 weeks notice, and it was very, very scary, but there was just a drive. There was just a drive to bring this to the world.
And how did you know it was not just an idea, but a drive? Like, because we have lots of great ideas, right? But was it keeping you up at night? Did you feel it in your soul? Was it when you looked at people and you saw the dark cloud, you felt this desire to heal it? And unique, there's a million things it could be.
Yeah, Michaela, it was really, I saw the world with uniquely in it. I saw the future, and it was like, of course, that's what's next.
Like there was just no other, there was no question.
Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, Michaela, I so saw the future that I was sure that when we opened our doors, we would be filling workshop seats. Like, that's what I felt like. It was just,
but you have to see that. Yeah. And I love that. And I'm poking and prodding a little bit, because again, this is part of our shared parallel story. I too had that experience where I was watching my people, the space, the community I love so much, struggling through this pull through time, through the COVID, through, the political and cultural unrest in our country, through addiction, through substance abuse, through so many manageable things when it's discussed, when it's put on the table, and we're not hiding from reality, right? Like when we're not sugarcoating our stuff and putting a nice Instagram filter on it and calling it okay. And let's give both of ourselves a round of applause. It was a month ago for both of us, December of 2021, that we both resigned from our full-time, oddly enough, marketing in manufacturing positions. I'm sure we could keep going with those similarities, but it wasn't that my job wasn't, didn't have value and give me drive, but there was something inside of me that said the world can wait no longer. The world needs your gift. And that's not to say my gift is special. I think it's calling a lot of people to the table to say, you need to show up and you need to bring your fullness. Because that's what we're here for, right? So I love the story. We could probably talk all day about that, but tell us all about Uniquely You. This was an inspiration. This was a vision. This was probably a journal entry, right? And it has become a living, breathing thing. So please, and full disclosure, I am a U instructor. So I am very proud to stand beside or sit beside Angela today. as she shares this information, because I jumped on board immediately because it used all the right language, all the right professional direction with a personal vibe that is required, right? And that's a lot of who I am. So tell us about Uniquely You.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's so hard because there's so much to say. Okay. So
Okay. Do you want me to ask small questions?
No. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I should be able to say this is part of the whole investor thing. Like I should be able to boil it down in 5 minutes.
It is, but I'm not an investor. We just want to get excited about it.
So, okay. So the advent of COVID allowed people to realize that they could communicate and connect with people through the computer, right? Through technology. We were having Easter Sundays on a Zoom call, like the old people trying to like navigate things. No, push the green button, grandma.
Oh my gosh, all the nose hairs we saw. Yeah.
And it just like, it made it go from like Zoom calls were only for professional environments. And now it became this thing that was acceptable.
Yeah.
So e-learning is what our industry is, which is basically just online learning for adult learners. Now the kids got it, K through 12 got it with COVID, so they understand the technology. Colleges, all are adopting it. Corporations, we're all over the place. And now, especially with people working from home. So the technology was there. And the platforms were there to do like online workshops. Like you can go to masterclass and learn from, Scorsese on filmmaking. Like you can learn anything you want. But what was missing for me was that human to human connection. So I was on a spiritual journey quest, and I was watching videos by this guy, Aaron Dowdy, I forget his name. And he, it was awesome, but I couldn't ask questions. It was like these great little videos, and he was adorable and taught about, star seeds and weird things like that. And I'm like, I want to talk about these things. I don't know. So, what I wanted to do is create, so Uniquely You are these small workshops, 20 people max, they're virtual. And you can go online and you can learn about anything from rediscovering your joy to, how to build a website like a boss, which is one that I teach, about empowerment, pharmacy, like wellness, integrative wellness, anything that's not a tangible skill, like learning Photoshop, right? This is all about taking stuff and classes and connecting with people just because it's fun. Just because it brings you joy. We don't do that.
And we forget how much opportunity for growth we create when we're having fun. Right? Like when we stop and think about how to use our brain differently, if we step out of the hamster wheel for a minute, and I saw sound healing, I saw finding purpose in your profession, and and some pretty quirky ones too. And I really dig that, because we have so many gifts, as I said earlier, right? We are hearing the call. People are answering the call to bring their gifts to life. And to your point, there were very few spaces that weren't mainstream, or, for things outside of the mainstream, to be able to talk about whatever it is that feels inspiring, because there are people out there that want to experience this, right? Yeah. So you have this vision, you have this idea. Like I said earlier, one of the questions, I have seen you partner with great people, great concepts. And I'm wondering, how did you know that you needed a partner? How did you bring in Dana? How have you used her, or if not, if this isn't true, don't let me put words in your mouth, but to establish your criteria for people you will work with, right? And I asked that because, as we mentioned, you're stepping out of the mainstream. So the criteria for alignment is not what you will find, particularly in like a corporate setting or a more traditional setting. So I'm wondering how you're writing that part of your SOP, standard operating procedure.
Well, oh gosh, if it's been done before, I don't do it. If it feels corporate-y, it's wrong. If someone tells me that's not how you do it, then that's how I do it. I've gotten a lot of really, even recently, just really, really recently, and just a quick one. So Dana, in her books, is famous for calling the universe throwing a big punch in the you know what. And so she has a author Q&A that says the twat punch in me honors the twat punch in you. Cause it's really
I
like,
saw that and I laughed hilariously
we were
because I know
cracking up.
about this. You guys
Yes.
have discussed this.
And we were cracking up and we were like, yes. And then I got a text from somebody who meant well. And they're like, where are you posted that? That doesn't really vibe with your brands. I'm like, actually, the fact that you texted me and it was in your awareness, it's all good. That's how
well, right. And I think that is the foundational part to uniquely you, is that you are not going to follow the script. You're not going to follow the plan that someone else wrote unless it brings you value, right? Because what you did when you started was said screw it to the traditional mainstream, using the skills and the experience you got in some of those settings, and said, I'm going to do it my way. But now, as you mentioned earlier, you're in this accelerator program, and those roads are colliding, right? Those are two different thinkings.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's definitely learning. I mean, I'm waiting for my first pitch deck review score. So we'll see how positive or negative that's going to be. Because, I'm doing things a little differently, but I'm also trying to play the game, right? I am trying to, as Gitu, one of your fellow U instructors, she said, you have to put on the clothes for the occasion. You keep the core of who you are, but if you're going to a wedding, you're not wearing jeans, right? So I'm trying to wear the right outfit for that occasion. And so I don't feel like I'm conforming. I feel like I am just, dressing appropriately.
And that there's value to that, right? Because where one might say it's conformity, right? Sometimes it requires a little bit of that to be able to get where you need to go so that you can show up your full self, right? You're not going to go to court or to a wedding in jeans. Why? Because while you may not necessarily get thrown out, it's odd and you're not going to have the response you want. But I have thought about that a lot. And that's something that one of my coaches said to me when I was at my previous job, figuring out what I wanted to do. And it's become a question that I use all the time with my clients. And it's, what are you wearing in your future happy life, in this space where you feel whole and authentic? What are you wearing and what's on your feet, right? Like what shoes are on your feet? And I'm like, I like to be barefoot, to be honest with you.
You and Dana both. Yeah.
See, here we
I
go.
need my slippies.
See, I'm slippers in the winter because I don't like to have my feet cold. But it is that important. If we're going to show up wholly and authentically, we have to be clear about what makes us safe and comfortable and inspired. But we also have to be clear about the playgrounds we want to play in, right? But I have found my way of doing it is this, consciously, cool, but professionally casual. That's kind of how I go. Yeah. And it was I had photos done this summer, headshot photos, and, I'm looking what to wear, and it's a blazer and it's this. And I said, I'll be damned. There will be none of that. If I want to wear a blazer, great, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
They look great. They're fine, but it doesn't feel like me. So I will work around that at every cost. Right.
Well,
but I will show up appropriate. I will show up ready for the occasion, but still I have to hold on to the me.
Yeah.
Right. I have to hold on to that.
I can't wear anything in my closet. I've got my COVID clothes and that's what I wear, top up, looking decent, I don't spend money on clothes because I don't know what my style is, but we have a workshop that I really want to take. It's Terry's workshop.
Okay.
Your empowered style, like what you say, like your clothes say everything about you, and are they expressing who you truly are?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're adorable.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
No, I know, but it's gonna be great. So anyway, we can go on a close tangent.
That's so interesting. Yes, we can. So, but I think that's the piece, right? Is we don't always think about our clothing and what it says about us, but you've created a platform where we can discuss that, where that can be, not a closed topic, if you will, and maybe it helps someone find the comfort that helps them bring the body posture and the strength of character to their next job interview, for example.
Yeah,
right?
well, we definitely, I mean, the most important thing we encourage is everybody to be themselves. That's it. I mean, I curse. I sometimes don't wear makeup. Oh my God. I am I'm your friend. I'm not like a
Right.
boss. Like I don't like that role. I don't want to be that role. And one thing that when I was looking at all the other platforms that are out there that are kind of in our wheelhouse, in our thing, there's some very scientific, some erudite, some professional, so all these things. I just wanted a place where we could come and play. I always joke that the sorority that Dana and I were in was Sigma Delta Tau, and we were like, not the beautiful girls, not the smart girls. No offense to any of my sisters, you're all beautiful, but we were the fun
Right.
ones. We were the
Right.
ones that you could just be yourself and have a good time with. And I think we bring that to uniquely you, and that's what makes us different.
So one of the things that you had also written about, with all of this excitement and this momentum and energy moving forward in the past year or 2, 3 years of growth and change, you had written recently, "Do not afraid to be quiet." You had written that a letter to your U instructor. See, I do read these things. An open letter, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it really resonated because, so as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, people say all the time, "So how's business going?" Right? And it's so awkward because I don't need to tell you about my business. I'm just going to tell you it's fine, right? But I love that you were like, it's okay to be quiet. It's okay to be slow and strategic, I guess. And those are my words. But tell me what you meant by that, because it really hit home. And I think it's a great opportunity for those listening to kind of reflect a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you for reading something that I wrote. I appreciate it and go to the nethers.
My pleasure.
I feel like I had such enthusiasm to open the doors. I had my vision is still so strong. My vision has not changed. It's just a matter of adjusting to the resources that we have. So when we open those doors, I needed to have that for everybody. I needed to say,
which is, by the way, so true, right? You just have to adjust to your resources and the conditions. So thank you for that little life lesson. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, you got to kind of roll it. Okay, what do I got here? How can I stretch $5?
Sorry about that.
It's okay. So, I think my enthusiasm, especially when we brought in you guys, because you guys were, our third team of you instructors, and I was still in that, but we're going to fill seats. And for me to constantly say, okay, no seats, Michaela, let's push your schedule out. Let's push your schedule out. As someone who I felt like I was selling a bill of goods, maybe, you know what I mean? But I had to step back and say, I'm not afraid of this. I don't want any of you to be either, because what happened was I went underground doing this accelerator program, and this is what I need for my growth. And I know that the person I am now versus the person I am and was in September versus, 2 years ago, it has evolved, and therefore the business has evolved. So my faith in the business, I believe it's going to work. And if it doesn't, some people lose some money, which I really would have, I'm sorry. But as long as no one dies, we're all good. Right. So it really, even that letter was taken as a negative at one point. Someone was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm fine. Like, don't you see me? I'm fine. And I want everybody else to know that I'm fine. So you be fine. And it's all good. Yeah.
Was that easy to do?
Yeah.
Send that letter? Good.
I'm an open book, Michaela. I like, ask me anything, you know what I mean? And someone was like, "Oh, I know how hard it is to agonize over these blog posts you write and these emails." I'm like, not really. They're like my journal for everybody, I'm an open book because I choose for people to see, maybe they could learn from what I'm going through, So when I put this book out, it's called Update Number 52. It's all of my emails compiled for the whole year up to launch. So someone could walk through the journey with us.
That's really cool. Update 52. I love that. So who will be looking out for that? When is there a launch date or?
Well, Dana just sent me. So we started another company because we have nothing else.
That's where I was going next.
Again, necessity is the mother of invention, and Dana's written 3 books, And she released the first one with the publisher, and it was not going where she needed it to go. So she was like, I was like, well, we can start a publishing company. I'm a designer, so I can do that. I can do the marketing part of it. She's a writer and she can do the editing. So Phenom Publishing was born. And we opened last month, and we just ordered our fourth book. We have 3 books out and our 4th book out. So she
Congratulations.
Thank you. She finished editing Uniquely You. I have to design the cover. We're going to do a proof edit once I get it in. And so hopefully like by mid-January, it'll be out.
Incredible.
Michaela,
That's incredible.
We don't have to like hem and haw over these things, you know, like you're talking about, we're all people with capabilities. So what is our strength? Play on our strength, and then pull in, you know, we didn't touch on like why Dana, or why my partners, or why you guys, right? I know what I can do well, and I know, and I can say it well, and I'm proud to say I can do certain things well. And then the stuff I don't know. Dana as like a natural, she's just a natural yin to my yang. On all things. And she's also my consigliere. So like she's like my confidant, she's everything. She punches me in the twat. She does all those things.
I love it. I love it. Well done, Dana. Well done. We appreciate your efforts.
Seriously, she deserves a lot for handling me. But
you're a blessing.
There were people in my life that I had in my life because of obligation, or because I didn't, you know, and it's taken a long time. My circle has gotten very small, and it's intentional. So I only want the people that can, as friends, are aligned with me, but as business partners, have something that I don't have. You know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I appreciate that, because we are often asked to give our word, to give our time, to give our resources, to give our energy to things. And as we mentioned earlier, there's so many ways to just waste it, right? Like just so much influence coming at us that it's very easy to just feel the desperation and the need and just go with the first person or take what feels right in the moment. But it can be very difficult to find the right people to partner with when you're not clear on what's important to you. So what are some of those characteristics that you feel, and maybe this is part of like the core values of Uniquely You or Phenom, how would I find more of those kinds of people in my life? What are you looking for?
Our number 1 core value, probably our only one, is don't be an asshole.
That's kind of how I teach my kids. I'm like, oh, just don't be an asshole.
Just don't be an asshole.
Fine.
Really?
It's fine.
It's cool. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yes. Good. Tell me, what does that mean? Can you elaborate on that for those who may not have the intuitive understanding?
Okay. Well, if you don't know if you're an asshole or not, I don't know.
Let's spell it
out. No, seriously. Mistakes are fine, except as long as you own up to them. Being authentic and true, being able to use your voice and say, I need help, or I need this, I need that. So we are not a typical corporate structure. I don't know how it's going to look when we're like, maybe 100 people and we've got full teams. But right now, the way that we work is there's no PTO days, there's no clocking in. People are trusted and valued for what they bring to the table. We're not sitting in on our U instructors courses because we're worried about how they're representing. No, we have full faith in everybody that we work with, that we all embody this whole thing. And really, it's like, as long as you understand where my passion's coming from and you have that same desire to help the world light up, and you want to go on this crazy train,
right?
Don't be an asshole and you're in.
But that makes it very easy, right? Because if there's don't do this, don't do that, it's so conditional, right? Going back to like, what are the conditions and how do you move in the conditions? And my 3 rules, which all lead to don't be an asshole for my kids, are be kind, try your hardest, and make good decisions. Like, that's all I can give you in life is those 3. I mean, yeah, I can give them a lot more, don't get me wrong, but when they go out into the world, right, they have to learn how to make decisions on their own. And you certainly don't want to parent all of the U instructors and subsequently beyond. So I think that really is, good life advice for everybody. And if you're building a business, here's a great core value for you. Just don't be an asshole. So outside of Dana and her care and coaching over the past few years, who do you like look up to in life or in business or philosophy? Who inspires you in the way that you think and move? Or I don't know. I'm just looking for more gems that we can all follow along.
It's gonna sound maybe egotistical, but I look up to myself.
Ooh, I love that. What better answer is there?
I have followed so many people in my life. I have looked up to the wrong people for the wrong reasons. And I found that I love my own company. I love the way I am running things. I love how authentic I am and the things that I've learned about myself. And what I've done in the past 2 years is like, if I was like just stepped outside myself, I'm like, oh my God, did you see what that? Did you see?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did a lot of hard stuff.
That's powerful. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery and a lot of strength and a lot of band-aids probably from the boo-boos, right? But I think, again, going back to uniquely you, I think that's part of it is we aren't taught to trust our own voice and to know that our gifts and skills are valuable and can bring others light when there is darkness or happiness when there is none. And again, like going back to my kids, like I right now I'm really trying to teach my kids to trust themselves, right? To trust that voice to say, so that they know how to be kind, they know how to make good decisions, they know how to not be assholes. And it's not very easy, right? Again, all that influence coming at us throughout the world. But I love you saying that. You're, like you said, 48 years old, right? How do we teach our 18-year-old self that? How would you go back to her and change the conditions for her to own that part and not wait this long?
Well, okay. So I have a 17-year-old daughter.
Or we can start there.
I have a 4-year-old
Yeah.
son. So I'm kind of like getting to do the early childhood mommy thing over in a different way than I did for her. And now I'm also preparing her to go out into the world. She just got into the college she wants. She's going to make movies. I'm so excited. I know. Another capability.
I was going to say. Tuck that away for later.
The most important thing that I am when I work with my kids now, with anything that comes up, is I'm trying to get them to hold on to their magic. Because when you hold on to your magic, anything is possible. And you turn off the noise. As long as the magic is what's happening in your world right now. Well, not what's on TV, not what so-and-so is saying about this, not what the politics, what is going on in your world. And if you can embrace that and see the magic in every single moment, pick up a leaf and look at the veins of the leaf. My son was telling me about a dream he was having, and we talk about his dreams and talk about his brother Joshua, I think as long as these kids can understand that they're magical beings who are capable of anything, then they won't be assholes going into the world, and they won't tolerate assholes.
Amen. And if we understand that magic doesn't leave just because we age, right, then we have a lifetime of magic. And we don't go into the bell curve where we see the light and the joy when we're kids, and then we get responsible, and then it's not until old age again where we feel the kind of screw it mentality, I'll do what I want, when we should be feeling that respectfully and responsibly our entire lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that funny? Like, that's the thing at the end when someone's dying, they say, I see the light. Like, why wait till the deathbed to see the light? And, we have all these conditions that are put upon us. We come into this world, perfect little bundles of perfect, pure joy, closest to God, most amazing, anything's possible. And all of a sudden they feel cold. They feel hungry. They feel, as whatever. And then life, parents get divorced, someone tragedy, blah, 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 blah. Bullied at school, name it. And we just wear all these layers that weigh us down. So uniquely you is truly about peeling back those layers, and saying like, you don't have to do that thing that's making you unhappy. There's always another way. You don't have to have that relationship. Here's some people that broke those relationships and look at them. So.
Wow. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see where Uniquely You goes. I can't wait to see where Phenom Publishing goes. I hope that when I'm ready, my book goes there.
Ooh, yeah, we're waiting for you, girl.
Fabulous. All things in due time, right? But it's about choosing the right partners. And I knew instantly that Uniquely You was a right fit for me, not just because it was referred to me by someone near and dear to us, Michael Strauss. I would follow him to the ends of the earth, but I am still a very discerning person. And I was really taken by what I need as a coach, as a person, as a healer, as a spirit giver, as an entrepreneur, as a woman, wife, mother, all the things, is a space where my little gift can live. And I want to put my little gift in as many spaces as will honor it so that it can shine bright and move forward out into the world. And while we have very tactical, strategic, high level things to think about in life as entrepreneurs, as moms, we also have to, as the topic of one of my presentations is, there's always room for joy. And if we're only doing the things because we should, or that's what's expected, or that's the next step, or that's the rung on the ladder I'm on, we miss a lot of that opportunity. And on behalf of all people, I'm grateful that you have chosen to bring your light to us. We're going to have to circle back and catch up on some more things because we could talk all day. But I really, really am grateful for the work that you are doing, the commitment that you've made, your uber willingness to be the open book and share, because every time you do, it gets me thinking, what do I need to say more of? How can I be more of myself? How can I let my little weird flags fly without, with so wild abandon? And it's all things we grow to, right? Because we have decades of experience telling us, this is how you move, this is how you think, this is what success looks like. So I applaud you breaking the mold, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. So if anyone listening today wants to become a part of the Uniquely You community, or to follow along on the other events or programs that you and Phenom Publishing have going forward, how do we follow along? How do we get involved? Show us the way.
Show us the way. Well, thank you, Michaela. I love that you are a part of us. One thing that really is special about us is that we're not just a marketplace for people like you to put their little courses. We're a community. We are a family, and we look out for each other. And I'm not only the hair club president, I'm also a client. I cannot wait to take your workshop in January.
I'm very excited about that.
I need, this is created for me, right? So I also need the reason to step outside of the business and the life and just enjoy getting to know myself a little bit better, spend time with you and the other students that we have in your workshop. I'm so excited.
It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be great.
And that one is the 3-week session. There's always room for joy. And I'm really looking forward to that because it'll be my first Uniquely You course.
Yay. So go to finduniquelyu, the letter u.com. Anybody can, we've got all of our courses on the homepage. We're currently running through January 31st, a Friends with Benefits promotion. So it's 2 seats for the price of 1, 50% off. So if anybody wants to, please join us for Michaela's workshop or anybody else's that's on there. They're really, 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 really fun. And then, that's basically what's happening right now with the workshops. And then we also have Spark experiences. We're little cheapy, under $10, little hour-long things where you can do a healing meditation with Kristen, or you can do the Twat Punch Q&A with Dana.
I'm just gonna giggle every time I hear that. We're gonna talk more about
we always talk about how we're children. We are such children that run this company.
Big body.
So find you. And then Dana and I also do a show, Cuddle Talk, where you were one of our wonderful guests.
That was so fun. That conversation was invigorating.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So so we're doing that, where we talk about people stepping into their power. And then Phenom Publishing. Just keep an eye out because we're putting some phenoms out into the world. So
I love it.
Give me your book. Give me your book. Get it.
I got to write it. I got to finish it. Well, I got to finish writing it, but we'll get there.
Okay.
What would you say if you could have one ask, one favor of anyone listening? What would you ask them to do today? Whether it's a big global thing, a personal thing, what's one ask? Whether it's to go be kind or to log in or follow or.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, follow us, join Uniquely You, whatever. But more importantly, what is something missing in your life? Just think about that. Just identify what's missing in your life and let the universe bring it to you. But you have to ask.
Yes, I was going to say, and to go back, there has to be a willingness to ask and be denied the first time, maybe the second time, because it's not a denial, it's a reroute. It's a point to something else. And I think when we are willing to ask the questions, the universe is then willing to answer, because the universe wants what we want when we really want it, right? When we're willing to do the work for it. And you, my friend, have done the work and the universe is answering. I answered when it knocked coming your way. And I truly cannot wait to see where you take it. And I very much look forward to having another conversation in a year or two, maybe in a month or two, to see what other fun projects you have had and share them with our group. But until then, my friends, stay fabulous, and we will catch you next time on And All the Things. Thanks so much.
And that's a wrap on another episode of And All the Things. If you enjoyed today's show, please follow on Apple Podcast and YouTube. If you really liked it, please go ahead and rate it. And if you really, really liked it and think someone else might, definitely give it a share. When you find something good, you've got to share it with those you love. And we love you all. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, make it a great day. See you next time.